What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Skull Network. My name is Nick, and welcome back to week 4 of the weekly pick series on the channel. In week 3, we went 11-5, bringing the season total record to 30-18. So each week, things have been getting better and better, and here's to hoping that week 4 can be even better than the last. But if it goes anything like week 3 with that set of noon games with all those upsets, then it's going to be a rough week. But I have pretty good confidence. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into the week 4 picks. Kicking things off, we have the Bengals and the Jaguars on Thursday Night Football. Jaguars are still winless. Trevor Lawrence still seems to be struggling, not getting a grasp on the NFL game. And Joe Burrow and the Bengals look to be one of those teams where you never really know which version of them you're going to get from week to week. Now, the Bengals are 7.5 point favorites in this game, and I can definitely see them winning by that touchdown, but I do think that this will just be a little closer than I think some people think. I do have a lot of faith in Jamar Chase. I do think he has a good chance of being Rookie of the Year. The only question is, will Joe Burrow show up this week? And you know what? I think he's back on the right track, and this Jaguars team is still figuring things out. I think Cincinnati will take this, and I haven't been wrong on Thursday Night Football yet, so lock it in. Moving over to the Sunday slated games, we have an easy one, the Jets and the Titans. As long as Zach Wilson is the quarterback for the New York Jets, and as long as they are the Jets, I have to pick against them. Go pick up Tennessee's defense in every fantasy league you can and lock in Tennessee. Next, we have an NFC North battle between the Lions and the Bears. As we know, the Bears are trying to kill their future superstar rookie quarterback in Justin Fields. The Bears are the favorites in this one, and I don't see how that can be the case because they don't even know who they're going to be starting, and Nick Foles is in the conversation. I'm sorry, but Matt Nagy does not deserve to have his head coaching job right now. And I think a lot of people are impressed with Dan Campbell and how he's been able to keep the Lions in so many games. Have they been winning a lot? No, but have they been competitive even with basically no receiving core and, Jared Goff and the defense that they have and the injuries that they've sustained? I think it's pretty impressive. So even though the Bears are favored in this one, I don't know why. I just don't like this quarterback situation. I don't think anyone back there is safe, and I'm going to be picking the Detroit Lions. Moving on, we have the Miami Dolphins and the Colts. Now, the Colts are one of these teams that are winless still, and you didn't really expect that at the beginning of the season, but things happen. Tua Tagovailoa is still going to be out for this game, so it will be Jacoby Brissett under center for the Miami Dolphins, and I think this one could be relatively close, but I think only for a short time. I just think Indianapolis has too many problems on both sides of the ball. And Miami went down to the wire with the Raiders last week and did almost pull out that win. And the Raiders are starting to look more and more like a real team each week. So that gives me a little more faith in the Dolphins, but I don't like either of these teams particularly a lot. But for the sake of having to make a pick, I'm going to be going with Miami this week. Unfortunately, I think the Colts fall to 0-4. Moving on, we have my game of the week, as per usual, the Browns and the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this is another one of those games like the Seahawks game and the Cardinals game where the Vikings shouldn't really have a chance, but as we saw last week, Kirk Cousins would be in the MVP conversation if Josh Allen and other guys above him didn't exist. Yes, that Browns defense is great. Yes, their offensive line is great. But the Vikings have been showing improvements from week to week. And of course, I'm going to have a lot of faith in them. I think Kirk Cousins is on fire. I think that we can survive if Dalvin Cook doesn't play again. My only issue is, will Nick Chubb absolutely destroy us? I don't know. There's a very good chance of that. But I do think that Kirk Cousins and that offense is capable of competing in a shootout and winning a shootout. And so the homer in me, as I do every week, will be picking the Minnesota Vikings. Next, we have the Washington football team and the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons finally picked up their first win, but it was against the New York Giants. I really don't expect them to go on a winning streak. Now, has the Washington football team defense looked as good as it did last year? Not even in the same stratosphere. So this will be a lot closer than it really should be. Taylor Heinicke still under center. There's just a lot of things not going the way of the Washington football team. My heart is telling me to go with the Washington football team. Moving on, we have another easy one in the Texans and the Bills. As long as Davis Mills is starting, he's just too inexperienced. Josh Allen looked like an absolute god last week. I'm not going to take any more time. The Buffalo Bills will win this one. Next up, we have the New York Giants and the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are going to be another one of those teams like the Bengals that are on and off from week to week. You never know which version you're going to get. The Giants, luckily, you always know you're going to be getting a terrible football team on both sides of the ball. And that makes this one another pretty easy one. If you lose to the Atlanta Falcons, you don't have a lot of hope against a team like the Saints. I'm not saying the Saints are this, god team, this great team, but they're good, okay? They can play very good football. And the Giants, they really can't. So it should sound pretty obvious. I will be taking the New Orleans Saints in this one. Moving on, we have the Philadelphia Eagles and the struggling Kansas City Chiefs. I never thought I'd be saying that. The Chiefs are under 500 for the first time since they really got Patrick Mahomes, and the Eagles didn't put up much of a fight against the Cowboys on Monday Night Football, but I don't know. I think the Chiefs are struggling enough. Come on, it's still Patrick Mahomes. He's still got all the weapons in the world. Is the Kansas City defense really any good? No. Are some of the offensive line acquisitions that they made in the offseason not looking like the best decision in the world? Yeah. But are the Eagles really a super competent team on both sides of the ball? I give them one half of the ball at least, but there's no way in any world that the Chiefs start off 1-3. Now, there was a lot of people saying that about them starting off 1-2, but this is going to be a big bounce back game for Patrick Mahomes. I think he plays really well, and I think the Chiefs get back on track. Next, we have one of the games of the week, probably just because it's the Cowboys, and that's what NFL on Fox always says, that the Cowboys are the game of the week, but they are facing off against the Carolina Panthers. This will really be the Panthers' first test to see if they actually are for real. They're currently 3-0. The Cowboys just kicked some ass on Monday Night Football, putting up 41. Dak still playing great. Zeke looks to be back. The Cowboys defense is still forcing turnovers, which again, this sounds extremely strange, but we can't forget the Panthers have one of the best defenses in the entire league. I believe they've given up less than 600 total yards in the first 3 games of the season. Sam Darnold playing much better and has DJ Moore, but the big issue is no Christian McCaffrey, and that offense runs through that guy. And I do think if Christian McCaffrey were playing, it would be a completely different storyline here, and I do think the Panthers would have a very good shot, but with him out, I think it's just going to be a very one-dimensional offense, and I do think Chuba Hubbard is a very respectable back. We just haven't seen enough of him to see if he can really be a replacement for Christian McCaffrey. We'll have to wait and see, but I mean, until we can see it, I think the Panthers unfortunately get their first loss, and I think the Cowboys will pull this one out. Moving on, we have the Seahawks and the 49ers. As we know, the 49ers, well, they left a little too much time on the clock for Aaron Rodgers, but that is besides the point. They are going up against a division rival, so you already know that this game is going to be incredibly close. And as the Vikings showed last week, the Seattle Seahawks defense looks like Swiss cheese week in and week out. Kirk Cousins diced him up. I think ultimately this is going to come down to the San Francisco 49ers defense and whether they can force Russell Wilson and that offense to struggle. Josh Norman played great last week. Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa playing like their old selves, or at least pretty close to it. I think there's a good chance that a lot of pressure is put on Russell. Now, of course, he can make plays, but it's not going to work every single time, as the Vikings were able to show. And this is another one of those games where I honestly think it can go either way, mainly because it's a divisional matchup. 49ers are favored, and I can definitely see why. I think for this one, I'm going to go with the 49ers, and somehow the Seahawks are going to fall to 1-3. Moving on, we have the game of the week, the NFC West battle between 2 3-0 teams, the Los Angeles Rams and the Arizona Cardinals. I love both of these teams. Matt Stafford is the front runner for the MVP, with Kyler Murray biting right at his heels, quite literally, because Kyler Murray is short. But in all seriousness, this game is going to be an absolute shootout. I wouldn't be surprised if the over-under was like 80 on this game. That's just how these sort of things go. But this one's going to be close too. Interdivision matchup. It's going to be crazy. But I honestly think the Rams are the best team in the NFC, and it's going to take a lot to stop them. And if there's a team that can do it, it's gotta be the Cardinals, because obviously the Bucs can't do it. We already saw that. But until the Rams show any sort of vulnerability, then there's no reason for me to pick against them. I'm not taking the upset here. I'm gonna take the Los Angeles Rams. Moving on, we have the Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers have basically a non-existent offense now. Big Ben is basically at the end of his tenure here. They have no protection for him. Aaron Rodgers, as we all kind of expected, he's still that guy. And I know the Steelers have a pretty decent defense, but like, Aaron Rodgers will not care. I don't expect this one to be particularly close. I'm going to be taking Green Bay. Up next, we have the Ravens and the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are 3-0, but their opponents are combined 0-9, so they haven't had a true test until now. Teddy Bridgewater is leading a lot of the quarterback stats in the league right now. Again, kind of due to their opponents, but at the same time, the Ravens haven't had the best of luck this season. They've been going a lot deeper and closer into games with teams that they really shouldn't be a number of times. Obviously, they had to go and kick a 66-yarder to beat a team like Detroit last week, so it definitely shows that a team like Denver, even if they are a little less good than we think, can easily stick with the Ravens. And I haven't really brought up any of the injuries that the Ravens have had as like a disadvantage before in past weeks, but for some reason I just think it will play a bigger part than people know in this game, just because Denver's defense has been so stout. Obviously they blanked the Jets, but I don't know, this might be one of those games where I need to flip a coin. Unfortunately, I'm not in the right room for that, so let me flip a coin on my computer here. Denver's going to be heads and the Ravens are going to be tails. Now, I can't necessarily show you this, but I'll be 100% transparent. It did land on tails, so I'm not going to lie. This wasn't the team I necessarily thought I was going to go with, but, I mean, this could either go either way, and we're going to be going with the Baltimore Ravens. Up next, we have the return of the GOAT. What do I mean by that? Obviously, you know, Tom Brady in his return to Foxboro against the New England Patriots. Mac Jones and that Patriots team really did struggle last week, started playing some mistake-filled football. Tom Brady finally took a loss, but against probably the best team in the entire league in the Rams. And this is one of those ones where it's like, yeah, it's a cool story, and it'd be cool if it was close and like went down to the wire, and you know, Tom Brady won the game, you know, on a last-second touchdown, yada, yada, yada. But I don't think it's going to need to come to that. I honestly think the Buccaneers are a much better team than the Patriots. And I do think that Mac Jones gets his real first taste of a true ass-whooping in this one. I think the Buccaneers, it's not going to be relatively close. And finishing things off, we have Monday Night Football with the Los Angeles Chargers and Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the Raiders, they're 3-0, and a lot of people are starting to buy into, you know, how good they are. And I like Derek Carr, don't get me wrong. I like a lot of things about that team. But at the same time, the Chargers were able to go into Arrowhead and take out Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, there's not a lot of teams that can say that. Mike Williams looking like a stud. Keenan Allen, great. That defense, stout. Justin Herbert, dude is going to be great. We've all said it before, but he's going to be awesome. And like I've said a couple times in this video, interdivision matchup, AFC West, this one's going to be close, but ultimately, just looking right at the teams, gut reaction, there's no reason I should be going against the Chargers here. I think that they take this one, and that is going to finish off the Week 4 picks. And that's going to end off the picks for this week, everyone. If you agreed, make sure you let me know in the comments down below. If you disagreed, do the same. Let's talk it out. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit the button down below to subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like as well. If you want to share this video and these picks with anyone that you know, you can do that with anyone on any platform. And if it's a crackula on the corner, that's your guys' best option. You guys already know. My name's Nick. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Adios.